buzz of my phone ripped me from sleep at 7:03 IMA. My eyes, still heavy, caught the glow of an email from Zenith Corp's HR. Subject, compensation realignment. I sat up, the sheets pooling around me, a knot already forming in my gut. I opened it and the words hit like a blade. My salary as CTO slashed by 35%, no explanation, no call, just a sterile signature tucked between a diversity seminar invite and a company wasty cheer for record-breaking $5.80 B revenue. I stared at the screen, my bedroom walls closing in. 3 years ago, I'd poured my soul into BuyStream, a data-rousing system that dragged Zenith from the edge of collapse to a tech titan. Now they were gutting me without a word. I forced myself out of bed, the hard wood cold under my feet. My reflection in the bathroom mirror looked hollow. Olivia Harper, the woman who'd ridden Zenith's future, reduced to a line item. I splashed water on my face, but it didn't wash away the sting. By 8:00 AM, I was in my car, weaving through San Francisco's morning fog, the email still burning in my mind. Zenith's glass and steel HQ loomed ahead, a monument to my work and their betrayal. Inside, the atrium was a spectacle. Platinum confetti drifted from the ceiling, catching the light like tiny knives. Champagne flutes clinked, laughter echoed, and a massive banner screamed global market dominance. The party was in full swing, celebrating the revenue milestone I'd engineered. I grabbed a martini from a passing tray, the glass warm in my hand, and stood at the edge of the crowd. CEO Victor Langston took the stage, his silver hair gleaming under the spotlights. His speech was a masterclass in theft, praising our tech innovations without a single mention of my name. My innovations, the crowd roared. My grip tightened, the martini sloshing. Victor sauntered over later, his tailored suit pristine, his grin all teeth. He clapped my shoulder, the gesture heavy with condescension. "Olivia, couldn't have done it without your brilliance." His voice was honey, but his eyes were cold, calculating. I leaned in, my voice a whisper. "The pay cut, Victor?" His smirk didn't waver. "Business, Olivia. Everyone's tightening belts." The lie hung between us. I wanted to slam the glass into his chest, but then I caught AVP's murmur nearby. Victor's daughter, Chloe, the new COO, had just landed a 30% raise. My fingers twitched, the glass nearly cracking. I drifted through the party, the confetti sticking to my shoes, faces blurred, executives, investors, all toasting a victory I'd built. My office, a glass box on the 17th floor, was my only refuge. I sank into my chair, the city skyline sprawling beyond the window, and pulled up my Q2 performance deck. It was my pride. A strategy that drove a 62% client retention surge, each slide stamped with, "Proposed by Olivia Harper, CTO," except now, it wasn't. The slides read, "Zenith Innovation Team." My name erased. My legacy stolen. I pressed my palms to my eyes, fighting the scream clawing up my throat. At noon, Mia, the MIT intern who'd been shadowing me, caught me in the hallway. Her eyes, usually bright with hero worship, were wide with something else. Fear, maybe. "They're saying you're out by Q3, she whispered, glancing over her shoulder. "Is it true?" The words sliced deeper than the email. Out? Me? The woman who coded BuyStream from nothing, who'd turned Zenith into a $5.80 B giant? I brushed past her, my pulse hammering, but her warning clung like damp fog. Q3 was 6 weeks away. If they were planning to oust me, I needed proof, and I needed it now. That night, I slipped into Zenith's server vault, the air thick with the hum of cooling fans. The vault was my domain, a cathedral of code where BuyStream lived. I needed my original codebase, the untouched files that proved I'd built it all. My fingers flew over the console, pulling up directories. Then a power surge, sharp, unnatural, killed the lights. The vault's steel doors slammed shut, the locks engaging with a sickening clunk. Oxygen monitors blinked red, the air thinning fast. My chest tightened, panic clawing at me. I stumbled to the override panel, my hands shaking as I punched in commands. The system I'd designed saved me. The doors hissing open, just as my vision blurred. I collapsed outside, gasping, the question burning, was that an accident? I barely slept. The next morning, an anonymous email hit my inbox. Your laptop's compromised. Buystream's blueprints stolen. My heart stopped. I traced the breach to an internal IP, a Zenith address. Someone inside, maybe the board, was spying, trying to claim my work outright. I tightened my grip on my coffee mug, the ceramic hot against my palms, and ran a full sweep of my laptop. The breach was real, surgical, targeting only Buystream's core files. I changed every password, but the damage was done. That night, leaving the office, I noticed a black SUV in my rearview mirror. It followed me through 3 turns, too close, too deliberate. On a deserted stretch of highway, it rammed my bumper, the jolt snapping my head forward. I swerved, tires screeching, and floored the gas, losing them in the city's maze. My hands shook on the wheel, my breath ragged. Someone at Zenith didn't just want me out. They wanted me silenced. HR summoned me the next day, their conference room sterile and cold. They slid an NDA amendment across the table, demanding I forfeit all rights to Buystream or face a $10.00 lawsuit for trade secret violations. The HR rep, a woman with a smile like plastic, called it standard procedure. I refused, my voice steady despite the rage boiling inside. Her smile faltered. They hadn't expected resistance. Hours later, a tech blog dropped a story accusing me of mismanaging Zenith's infrastructure, citing outages that never happened. I traced the article to Chloe's PR firm. My phone buzzed with texts, colleagues offering pity, others distancing themselves. My reputation was tanking, and I could feel the ground slipping beneath me. In the boardroom, I overheard Victor and Chloe plotting. Olivia's expendable, Victor said, his voice low, casual. Mia can take credit for Buystream. My blood ran cold. Mia, the intern I'd mentored, was their pawn. I leaned against the wall, hidden, as Chloe laughed. She's already pitching Olivia's roadmap as her own. The betrayal was a physical thing, a weight on my chest. Then I discovered Buystream's license was set to expire in 14 days. Zenith hadn't renewed it, assuming I'd handle the paperwork like always. Without that renewal, 90% of their platform would collapse. I held the only signed copy, locked in my safe at home. They'd never get it. I'd already started my counterstrike. Subtle code redirects in Buystream, nothing destructive, just enough to cause minor outages. I wasn't sabotaging, I was withdrawing my system's efficiency, letting Zenith feel my absence. The outages hit, and Zenith's stock dropped 12%, then 18%. Clients screamed about data glitches, threatening lawsuits. Victor cornered me in my office, his face red. Fix it. Olivia. I stared him down, my voice calm. I'm working on it. I wasn't. I was letting the system unravel, exposing their dependence on me. My estranged brother, Mark, a Zenith shareholder, called that night. His voice was thick with guilt. I leaked your pay cut to the board, he admitted. Thought it'd motivate you to fight harder. I nearly hung up. He begged me to stay silent, to protect his investment. You don't get it, Mark, I snapped. They're erasing me. The betrayal stung worse than the SUV's bumper, a reminder that even family could sell me out. Then came Cassandra Reed, CEO of Nextilify, Zenith's rival. She invited me to a clandestine rooftop dinner, the city glittering below. Over wine, she offered $2.00 for Buystream, but only if I joined as CTO. Stop building their empires, Olivia, she said, her eyes sharp, almost hungry. Build your own. She proposed Vantage Tech, a brand for me to license Buystream. The deadline? 48 hours. I hesitated. Freedom sounded good, but Nexlify could be another cage. I need 72 hours, I said. She gave me 24, her smile tight. Curiosity gnawed at me. An encrypted message from Ghost warned of a boardroom coup. Was it Mia, a disgruntled VP, or someone outside Zenith? In the server vault, I'd found a hidden USB labeled Buy Stream Contingency, password protected. Did it hold evidence of Zenith's fraud? Mia slipped me a flash drive with board meeting recordings, but her motives were murky. Alley or plant? I uncovered emails suggesting Victor was negotiating to sell Zenith to a Chinese conglomerate using BuyStream as leverage, without my consent. And the BuyStream renewal form? I found it in Victor's deleted emails, signed but never submitted. Accident or sabotage? 3 years ago, I'd joined Zenith when it was bleeding cash, a sinking ship with a skeleton crew. I built BuyStream from nothing, a system so elegant it rewrote data routing. It saved Zenith, turned it into a $5.80 B-Titan. They never fired me, but they sidelined me, stripped my team, my budget, my credit, while propping up Chloe, Victor's unqualified daughter. HR's role transition meeting was a farce, pitching a mentorship role to amplify new voices, a demotion in disguise. Mia's ambition twisted the knife. She was at the boardroom table pitching my Q3 roadmap as her own, coached by Chloe. It wasn't done. Those code redirects were my leverage, a reminder. I was the backbone. Engineer Noah Patel emailed me about intentional latency spikes, begging for help. I ignored him, knowing he was close to uncovering my plan. The outages spread, and clients threatened lawsuits. Victor's public blame only fueled my resolve. Mia's confession came late, her voice trembling. She'd leaked the mismanagement story under Chloe's pressure, but offered to testify against Zenith if I stayed. I didn't trust her. Not yet. The USB, the emails, the warnings, they were pieces of a puzzle I hadn't solved. But I knew one thing. Zenith had underestimated me. They thought they could ambush me, erase me, replace me. They were wrong. I stood at my office window, the city skyline glittering below, my reflection sharp against the glass. The clock was ticking. 14 days to renewal, 24 hours to Cassandra's deal, and a coup I couldn't yet see. My hand closed around the USB in my pocket. Whatever was coming, I'd face it on my terms. I paced my apartment that night, the USB burning a hole in my pocket. The city hummed outside, oblivious to the storm brewing in my world. I poured a glass of whiskey, the amber liquid catching the light, and sat at my kitchen counter. The flash drive Mia gave me lay beside my laptop, its contents unplayed. I didn't trust her, but I needed answers. I plugged it in, my finger hovering over the play button. The first recording crackled to life. Victor's voice, smooth and commanding, in a board meeting I hadn't been invited to. "We pivot to Mia by Q3, he said. "She's young, hungry, and she'll take direction. Olivia's a liability, too independent." Claude's laugh followed, sharp and cruel. "She still thinks BuyStream's hers. Let's see how she feels when Mia presents it at the shareholder summit." My stomach churned. They weren't just replacing me. They were rewriting history, handing my life's work to a 22-year-old intern I'd trained. I stopped the recording, my hands shaking. Mia's confession made sense now, but it didn't make her an ally. She'd played their game, even if she regretted it. I opened my safe, pulling out the signed BuyStream renewal form. It was my ace, the only thing keeping Zenith's platform alive. Without it, their servers would choke, their clients would bolt, and their stock would crater. I tucked it back inside, locking the safe with a soft click. Victor's deleted email about the renewal form haunted me. He'd signed it months ago but never submitted it. Why? Was he careless? Or was he planning to let the license lapse, knowing it'd force me to hand over BuyStream's rights? I couldn't prove it. Not yet. The ghost message was another riddle. I opened my laptop, the encrypted email stark against the screen. Boardroom coup? Trust no one. Check the vault. The vault. That's where I'd found the USB tucked behind a server rack, labeled Buy Stream Contingency. I hadn't cracked its password. Every attempt locked me out further. It could be evidence of Zenith's fraud, or it could be a trap. I needed a cryptographer, someone outside Zenith's reach, but time was running out. Cassandra's offer weighed on me. $2.00 B for BuyStream, a chance to start over with Vantage Tech. But joining Nexlify meant trading one corporate leash for another. I'd met Cassandra years ago at a tech conference in Vegas. She was ruthless, charming, the kind of woman who could sell ice in a blizzard. Her pitch was tempting, but her ultimatum, join or the deal's off, felt like a test. I had 24 hours to decide, and the clock was merciless. I drove to the office at dawn, the streets quiet, the fog thick. Zenith's HQ felt like enemy territory now, every glance from a colleague laced with pity or suspicion. I avoided the atrium, taking the service elevator to my floor. My office was untouched, but it felt like a stage set, a place where I played a role they no longer wanted. I pulled up BuyStream's diagnostics, checking the outages I'd triggered. They were spreading, subtle but relentless. A 2% latency spike in the East Coast servers, a 4% drop in data throughput in Europe. Nothing catastrophic, yet. Just enough to make clients nervous, to make Victor sweat. Noah Patel's email popped up, marked urgent. Olivia, the latency spikes are intentional. Someone's tampering with BuyStream. I need your help. Noah was a brilliant engineer, loyal but nosy. He was close to uncovering my redirects, and I couldn't let that happen. I typed a vague reply, looking into it, stand by, and deleted his message. Guilt pricked at me, but I pushed it down. This wasn't about Noah. This was about survival. At 8:15 a.m., HR called me to their role transition meeting. The room smelled of stale coffee, the table littered with branded pens. The HR rep, Karen, smiled like she was selling me a timeshare. We're envisioning a mentorship role for you, Olivia, she said. A chance to amplify new voices, like Mia's. I nearly laughed. Mentorship? It was a demotion, a way to shove me into a corner while Mia took my place. I leaned forward, my voice low. I'm not here to babysit Karen. I built BuyStream. You need me where I am. Her smile froze, but she didn't argue. I walked out, my heart pounding, knowing I'd just drawn a line. Mia found me in the cafeteria, her tray shaking as she sat across from me. I didn't want to hurt you, she said, her voice barely audible. Chloe made me leak that story. She said it'd protect the company. Her eyes were wet, but I didn't soften. You chose their side, Mia. Why should I trust you now? She slid a second flash drive across the table. More recordings. They're planning to sell Zenith. Victor's meeting with a Chinese firm next week. I took the drive, my fingers brushing hers. If you're lying, I said, you'll regret it. She nodded, her face pale, and left without another word. I played the new recordings in my office, the door locked. Victor's voice again, this time with a man I didn't recognize. BuyStream's the jewel, Victor said. They'll pay $10.00 B for Zenith if we bundle it. The other man laughed. And the CTO? She's a problem. Victor's reply was cold, not for long. My skin prickled. They were selling my work, my future, to a conglomerate that'd bury it in proprietary hell. I burned the recordings to a secure drive, my hands steady despite the fury. The tech blog smear campaign hadn't let up. A new article dropped accusing me of gross negligence in a server outage that never happened. My LinkedIn was flooded with messages, recruiters phishing, colleagues hedging. I ignored them, focusing on the USB from the vault. I tried another password, my mother's maiden name, and the screen flashed red, one attempt remaining. One wrong move, and the data could wipe itself. Cassandra texted at noon. Time's ticking, Olivia, deal or no deal. I didn't reply. I needed to know what was on that USB before I committed to anything. I called a contact, a cryptographer named Alex, who owed me a favor. "I need a password cracked," I said, "off the grid." He agreed to meet me at a diner in Oakland that night. I hung up, my mind spinning. Alex was good, but he wasn't infallible. If the USB was a trap, I was walking into it blind. The SUV incident replayed in my head as I drove to the diner. The headlights, the jolt, the screech of tires. I'd filed a police report, but without a license plate, it was useless. Zenith's reach was long, and I didn't trust the cops to dig too deep. Alex was waiting in a booth, his hoodie pulled low. I slid the USB across the table. "How long?" I asked. He frowned, turning it over. "A day, maybe 2. This is military-grade encrypt." I nodded, slipping him a burner phone. "No calls, no emails. Text me when it's done." He left, and I sat there, the diner's neon buzz filling the silence. Back home, I poured another whiskey, the bottle lighter than I remembered. The city skyline glittered outside, a reminder of what I'd built and what they were stealing. I opened my laptop, pulling up BuyStream's diagnostics again. The outages were escalating. 6% latency in Asia, 8% in South America. Clients were threatening to pull contracts, and Victor's emails were frantic, demanding I join a crisis call. I ignored them. Let him squirm. Let him see what happens when you erase the person who holds it all together. Mark called again, his voice slurred. "Olivia, don't tank the stock. I'm begging you. I've got everything in Zenith." I cut him off. "You sold me out, Mark. Live with it." I hung up, my throat tight. He'd always been weak, chasing payouts while I chased dreams. Now he was collateral damage, and I couldn't afford to care. The next morning, Victor called me to his office. His desk was a fortress of mahogany, his view of the bay obscene. "You're letting the system fail," he said, his voice low, dangerous. "Fix it, or you're done." I leaned back, crossing my arms. "You slashed my pay, erased my work, and now you're threatening me? Good luck running BuyStream without me." He couldn't, not yet. I walked out, my heart pounding, knowing I'd just raised the stakes. Mia's second flash drive had one more recording, time-stamped yesterday. Chloe's voice, smug and clear. "Once Olivia's gone, we rebrand BuyStream as Mia's, the board's already sold on her." I slammed my laptop shut, my breath ragged. Mia wasn't just a pawn, she was their poster child, a shiny new face to replace me. I texted her, "Meet me, now." She replied instantly, naming a coffee shop downtown. I grabbed my coat, the USB in my pocket, and headed out. The coffee shop was crowded, the air thick with espresso and rain. Mia sat in the corner, her hands wrapped around a mug. "I'm sorry," she said before I could speak. "I didn't know they'd go this far." I slid into the booth, my voice low. "You're pitching my roadmap, Mia. You're stealing my work." Her eyes widened, tears brimming. "They forced me. Chloe said if I didn't, they'd ruin me." I leaned closer, my voice steel. "You want redemption. Get me proof. Real proof, not just recordings." She nodded, wiping her face. "I'll try. There's a board dinner tomorrow. I can get in." I didn't trust her, but I needed her. "Don't screw this up," I said and left. Alex texted as I drove home. "USB's tough, need 48 hours. I cursed under my breath. Cassandra's deadline was in 12 hours, and I couldn't decide without knowing what was on that drive. I pulled over, the rain hammering my windshield, and texted her. "Need 24 more hours." Her reply was instant. "You're out of time, Olivia. Yes or no." I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering. Nexafy could be my way out, but it could also be a trap. I typed no and hit send, my chest tight. I'd find another way. The outages hit critical mass that night. Zenith's stock tanked 22%, the worst in a decade. Social media was a firestorm, clients demanding answers, investors panicking. Victor's crisis call was scheduled for 6:00 IMEM, and I knew he'd come for blood. I didn't care. I was done playing their game. I opened my laptop, pulling up BuyStream's core code. My redirects were still active, a silent rebellion. I could escalate them, cripple the platform entirely, but that wasn't the plan. Not yet. I needed Zenith to need me, to beg me, before I pulled the plug. The ghost email pinged again. They know you're fighting back. Watch your back. My skin prickled. I checked my apartment's locks, the windows, the shadows outside, the SUV, the vault, the breach. They weren't accidents. Someone wanted me scared, or worse. I tucked the USB into my safe next to the renewal form and poured another whiskey. Sleep wasn't an option. At 5:00 a.m., I drove to Zenith, the city still dark. The crisis call was in Victor's office, the board dialed in remotely. He didn't look at me as I sat down, his face a mask of rage. "You've got 1 hour to fix this," he said, "or you're out." I leaned back, my voice calm. "You need me, Victor. You always have." His eyes narrowed, but he didn't argue. The board's voices crackled through the speaker, demanding updates. I fed them half-truths, promising a patch by noon. It was a lie, but it bought me time. Bea texted during the call, "Board dinners tonight, I'm in, what do you need?" I replied, "Emails, contracts, anything tying Victor to the sale. If she came through, I'd have leverage. If she didn't, I'd know she was theirs." I left Victor's office, my head high, and headed to the server vault. The USB's contents were still a mystery, but I needed to check the servers for tampering. The vault was quiet, the air cold. I ran diagnostics, my fingers steady. Nothing out of place. Yet. But the surge that trapped me hadn't been random. I found a log, buried deep. A manual override, triggered from Chloe's office. My jaw tightened. She'd tried to kill me, or at least scare me into submission. Alex called at noon, his voice low. "USB's cracked. Meet me tonight, same diner." I exhaled, relief flooding me. "What's on it?" I asked. He hesitated. "You won't like it. Just come." I hung up, my pulse racing. The diner was an hour away, and I had Mia's board dinner intel coming. I texted Cassandra, "Reconsidering. Need 48 hours. No reply. I didn't care. The USB was my priority now. The day dragged, every minute heavy. Noah emailed again, his tone desperate. "Olivia, the spikes are spreading. I'm reporting this to Victor," I cursed, typing a quick reply. "Don't. I'm handling it." He didn't respond, and I knew he was trouble. If he went to Victor, my redirects would be exposed. I needed to neutralize him, but how? I couldn't fire him, and I couldn't trust him. I pushed the thought aside, focusing on the diner. Alex was waiting, the USB in his hand. "It's bad," he said, sliding it across the table. "Financial records, emails, contracts. Xenix's been siphoning BuyStream's profits to an offshore account. Victor and Chloe signed off. My stomach dropped." "Proof?" I asked. He nodded. "Enough to bury them, but there's more. They've got a kill switch in BuyStream, coded to wipe it if you try to leave." I took the USB, my hand steady. "Thanks, Alex. Disappear for a while." He nodded and left, his hoodie vanishing into the rain. I drove home, the USB in my pocket, my mind racing. A kill switch. They'd built a failsafe to destroy my work if I fought back. I plugged the USB into my laptop, the files spilling across the screen. Alex was right. Bank transfers, emails, signatures. Victor and Chloe had stolen millions, funneled it through shell companies. One email stood out, from Victor to a Chinese exec. "BuyStream's yours for $10.00. B. Harper's out by Q3. My vision blurred, rage and fear colliding. They weren't just erasing me. They were selling my soul. Mia's text came at midnight. "Got something. Meet me tomorrow. 7:00 IM coffee shop." I didn't sleep. I spent the night combing the USB, cross-referencing dates, names, accounts. By dawn, I had a timeline. Victor's plan started a year ago, when Chloe joined as COO. They'd sidelined me, promoted Mia, and rigged the system to collapse without me. The kill switch was their insurance, a way to ensure BuyStream died if I didn't comply. I met Mia at the coffee shop, her face pale, her hands shaking. She slid a folder across the table. "Emails from Victor's private server," she said. "He's meeting the Chinese firm tomorrow. They want BuyStream's source code." I opened the folder, scanning the printouts. Dates, times, names. Enough to expose Victor, but not enough to stop him. "You're sure about this?" I asked. She nodded, her eyes steady. "I'm done with them, Olivia, I swear." I wanted to believe her, but trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. I drove to Zenith, the folder and USB in my bag. The office was chaos, executives scrambling, phones ringing, the stock down 25%. Victor called another crisis meeting, his voice hoarse. "Olivia, you're killing us. Fix it." I smiled, my voice cold. "You want BuyStream? Renew the license today." His face paled, but he nodded. "Fine, get me the form." I leaned closer, my voice a whisper. "I don't trust you, Victor. I'll handle it myself." I walked out, my heart pounding, knowing I just called his bluff. The renewal form was my leverage, but the kill switch was a problem. I needed to disable it, and fast. I slipped into the server vault, the air cold, the hume familiar. I pulled up BuyStream's core code, searching for the switch. It was there, buried deep. A self-destruct sequence tied to my login. If I left Zenith, it'd wipe everything. My hands shook as I typed, rerouting the trigger to a dead end. It took hours, my eyes burning, but I did it. BuyStream was safe, for now. Alex texted, "You okay?" I replied, "Alive, thanks." He didn't respond. I hoped he'd taken my advice and gone dark. The SUV, the vault, the breach, they were warnings, and I wasn't naive enough to think they'd stop. I left the vault, the folder and USB in my bag, and headed to my office. The skyline glittered outside, a reminder of what I'd built and what I stood to lose. Cassandra called at noon. "You said no," she said, her voice sharp. "Why?" I leaned back, my voice steady. "I'm not done here. But I'm listening." She laughed, low and knowing. "You've got 24 hours, Olivia. $2.00 B, Vantage Tech and a clean slate. Don't waste it." I hung up, my mind racing. Her offer was a lifeline, but the USB changed everything. I had proof now. Proof to bury Victor, Chloe, and their empire, but using it meant war. And I wasn't sure I was ready. Mia's folder sat on my desk, the emails a ticking bomb. Victor's meeting with the Chinese firm was tomorrow, and I needed to be there. I texted Mia, "Get me in." She replied, "Done. Black dress, 7:00 p.m., Mandarin Oriental." I exhaled, my hands steady. The game was changing, and I was done playing defense. I stood at my window, the city alive below, my reflection sharp against the glass. The USB, the folder, the renewal form, they were my weapons, and I'd use them. Zenith thought they could ambush me, erase me, replace me. They were wrong. The clock was ticking. 24 hours to Cassandra, 12 hours to Victor's meeting, and a coup I could almost taste. I slipped the USB into my pocket, my resolve iron. Whatever came next, I'd face it on my terms.